The water is so clear that people make the same mistake almost immediately. They look down. They see the rocks beneath them, sunlight moving across the bottom, and water so intensely blue that it seems more like a swimming pool than a river. Then someone jumps. For a fraction of a second, everything looks exactly as expected. The splash, the cheering, the swimmer rising back toward the surface. But the moment their head breaks through the water, their body is already fighting something their eyes never warned them about. The water is 30 or 40 degrees colder than the summer air. Their breathing becomes uncontrollable. Their muscles begin losing strength. The shore that looked only a short swim away suddenly feels much farther. And if they disappear beneath the surface, help may be several miles of rough trail away. This is Timolich Blue Pool in Oregon, one of the most beautiful swimming holes in America, and one of the easiest places to misunderstand. People continue hiking here, jumping from the surrounding rocks and entering the water because almost everything about Blue Pool suggests safety. The danger is not hidden by mud, darkness, or violent waves. It is hidden by beauty. There is no official national list naming one swimming hole the deadliest in America. But few places combine freezing water, high cliffs, remote terrain, delayed rescue, and repeated emergencies as effectively as this one. And the reason begins more than 1,600 years ago. A volcanic eruption from Belknap Crater sent lava across the landscape and buried roughly 3 miles of the Mackenzie River. The river did not disappear. It went underground. Today, water travels through porous volcanic rock before rising back to the surface at the base of Timolich Falls. Most of the year, there is no visible waterfall at all. The river simply seems to emerge from beneath the earth, filling a deep basin with impossibly clear turquoise water. That underground journey creates the first deception. Because the water is filtered through layers of lava rock, it carries very little sediment. Light penetrates deeply, making submerged rocks appear close enough to touch. The pool can look shallow even where the bottom drops away. It can also look warm. Bright sun, blue water, and people sitting on rocks in summer clothing create all the visual signals of a perfect place to cool off. But Blue Pool averages around 37 degrees Fahrenheit. That is colder than many refrigerators. And when a warm body enters water that cold without protection, the first danger is not hypothermia. It is shock. Cold water hitting the face and chest can trigger an involuntary gasp. Breathing becomes fast and difficult to control. A person may inhale water before they have time to understand what is happening. The heart begins working harder. Blood vessels tighten. Coordination starts to deteriorate. Even a strong swimmer can suddenly struggle to perform movements that felt automatic seconds earlier. This is why the phrase, "I'm a good swimmer," offers much less protection than people think. Swimming ability assumes the body is responding normally. Cold shock changes the body before skill has time to matter. Now add the way many visitors enter Blue Pool. They do not slowly step into the water and adjust. They jump. The cliffs surrounding the basin range from roughly 10 to 60 feet high. A leap from those rocks combines 2 separate hazards at the same moment. First comes the impact. A bad landing can cause injury, disorientation, or loss of consciousness. Then comes the cold. A swimmer whose surface is already stunned may gasp, panic, or lose the strength needed to reach shore. The danger is multiplied because the water is so clear. From above, judging depth and distance becomes difficult. Rocks may appear closer to the surface than they are, or farther away. And unlike a public pool, there are no depth markers, ladders, lifeguards, or warm deck waiting beside the water. The nearest practical exit may require climbing onto rough rock, while the swimmer's hands and legs are becoming less responsive. Still, people watch someone else jump and climb out safely. Then another person does it, and another. This creates perhaps the most dangerous illusion at Blue Pool, proof by survival. Every successful jump becomes a demonstration that the water is safe. The The people who hesitate see smiling swimmers, hear laughter, and watch videos being recorded from the cliffs. What they do not see are the differences between one person and the next. One swimmer may enter feet first and surface close to shore. Another may hit the water badly. One may remain calm during the first gasp. Another may inhale water. One may have a flotation device waiting nearby. Another may discover that confidence disappears the moment their chest locks and their arms stop working properly. The environment looks identical. The outcome does not have to be. Blue Pool became far more popular during the social media era. Its turquoise color photographs beautifully, and the hike feels achievable enough to attract visitors who may not normally spend time around remote mountain water. At one point, officials estimated that tens of thousands of people were visiting each year. That popularity created a predictable pattern. More visitors meant more people reaching the edge without understanding the temperature. More phones recording meant more pressure to jump, and more inexperienced visitors meant more rescues in a place where rescue is unusually difficult. In 1 week during the summer of 2023, search and rescue teams were reportedly called to Blue Pool 5 times. 5 emergencies in 7 days at one beautiful basin. The pool sits more than 2 miles from one of the main trail access points. The path crosses rough, rocky terrain through the forest. Cell reception is minimal or non-existent. When something goes wrong, calling for help may itself require someone to move until they find a signal. Rescuers must then reach the location on foot, carrying equipment over terrain that slows every stage of the response. The Forest Service warns that it can take hours for an injured visitor to reach a hospital. That changes the meaning of a small mistake. At an ordinary beach, a struggling swimmer may be seen by a lifeguard within seconds. At Blue Pool, the first people available to help are often friends or strangers with no rescue training. And that creates another deadly possibility. Someone sees a swimmer struggling and jumps in after them. Now there are 2 people in 37-degree water. The instinct to enter the water is understandable, but cold water rescues can turn one victim into several. A panicked swimmer may grab the rescuer, while the rescuer experiences the same shock and rapid loss of control. The safest rescue may involve throwing something that floats, reaching from solid ground, or calling emergency services immediately. But in the moment, people do not think like rescue professionals. They think like friends. In June 2026, another visit to Blue Pool ended in tragedy. A 21-year-old man visiting with friends jumped into the water and began struggling as he tried to swim toward shore. Witnesses attempted to help. Emergency responders were called. He did not survive. His death was not the result of a hidden predator, poisonous water, or supernatural force. It came from a combination Blue Pool has presented again and again: a voluntary jump, extreme cold, rapid physical distress, and a remote location where help cannot arrive instantly. That is what makes this place so unsettling. Nothing about the danger looks dramatic before someone enters. The surface does not churn. There is no powerful waterfall pulling swimmers downstream during most of the year. The water does not look deep, dirty, or threatening. It looks controlled. But Blue Pool is not a constructed attraction. It is the point where an underground river returns through volcanic rock. The water has spent miles away from sunlight. Its temperature does not rise simply because the air above it is warm. A hot summer afternoon can therefore make the risk worse, psychologically, even while changing almost nothing below the surface. The hotter the hike feels, the more inviting the pool becomes. The more inviting it becomes, the less seriously people take the cold. And the clearer the water looks, the more visitors believe they understand it. Forest officials have considered closing the pool to swimming entirely. Diving is prohibited, and warnings describe the cold water, cliffs, injuries, deaths, and long emergency response times. Yet warnings compete with something more powerful: the view. A sign describes a possibility. The person floating safely in front of you feels like evidence. That is why people keep entering. Most will climb back out. Most visits will end with photographs, wet clothes, and a story about how unbelievably cold the water felt. Those safe outcomes are real, but they do not make the danger imaginary. They simply explain why the next person believes the risk will apply to someone else. Blue Pool does not kill everyone who enters it. It does something more deceptive. It allows enough people to leave safely that entering begins to feel normal. And normal behavior can still happen in an abnormal environment. At 37 degrees, the water does not care how warm the day is. The cliffs do not care how many people jump before you. The distance from emergency help does not shrink because the location became famous online. Blue Pool remains exactly what the landscape created 16 centuries ago, an underground river emerging into a deep volcanic basin, beautiful, clear, freezing, and completely indifferent to what the surface makes people believe.